damos las gracias a Tony por darnos esta visita con estos compañeros aquí en Arroyo Chiquito, sección La Florida. Este es el paraje más pobre de la Florida, pero le damos gracias a Dios y a nuestros compañeros por las ayudas que nos han dado. Queremos hacer crianza y no tenemos el presupuesto. El trabajo de nosotros nos da más agricultura y ahora no hay desembolso de nada porque los trabajos están cortos. No hay donde uno gana el peso para uno hacer la ayuda que necesita en la casa. Queremos que, con el permiso de Dios y los buenos compañeros que nos presten la ayuda, que nosotros seremos muy agradecidos.
So we're here in the community of La Florida, which is located in the province of San Juan in the Dominican Republic. The community in here in La Florida has about 300 households, but more than 300 families, as there's usually about 2 or 3 families that lives in every household. The typical house here probably has a zinc roof, concrete walls, and maybe 1 or 2 bedrooms with 2 beds that the entire family would share. The kitchen is usually outside of the house, with a wood-burning stove, or if they're lucky, a gas-burning stove. The community here, La Florida, is located about 45 minutes away from the central city of San Juan. To get to the community of La Florida, you need a car or a truck that's very strong to cross over rivers and to go up mountains with a dirt road or a very strong motorcycle. For that reason, a lot of members of the community don't leave very often. Members of the community, their typical work is just farming here in the mountains. They usually grow pumpkins, corn, avocados, beans, and whatever sort of fruits will grow in the trees. But lately, the Dominican Republic's been experiencing a drought, so the harvest hasn't been very good for families. Families also usually have goats, pigs, and chickens at their homes, but it's very unusual for a family to eat meat. Typically, families eat rice and beans for dinner and lunch, and then they sell those animals if they're in a dire time of needing money. The church in San Juan has been coming to La Florida for about 6 years now. They first started coming here when they felt called to live a more radical faith here in the Dominican Republic. They noticed that there were a lot of foreigners coming into the country, from the United States, for example, but they noticed that there weren't very many Dominican churches doing something about the problem of poverty here in the country. For that reason, the church decided to start coming to this community. It was one of the furthest away from San Juan, one of the most difficult to get to, and one with the most impoverished people in this country. But that's what a radical faith is, coming to the people who need help the most and trusting in God to do something radical. In those 6 years, the church has been building homes, fixing homes, pouring cement floors so that people don't just have dirt floors in their homes. They've been offering people help financially. They've been going house to house and preaching the gospel. They've been doing activities for kids, such as vacation Bible schools, and just playing games and offering kids clothes and food and toys that they need. They've also had a couple projects of bringing water to the community, setting up aqueducts for aqueducts that were broken or that weren't here, and how people had to go down the mountain to a river and load water on horses to be able to bathe and clean their homes. The church also worked with the local government to make bridges so the community was more accessible. They also worked with the government to set up clinics to improve the schooling here. Schooling in this community, there's 3 elementary schools that reach up to 4th grade. To go to high school, kids have to walk 14 kilometers down the mountain to the nearest high school, which means that if it rains, kids don't go to school. It means that kids are walking alone, probably around the age of 12, which can be very dangerous as well. And it also means that it's more likely for a kid to drop out of school, because walking 14 kilometers is very hard to encourage a student or a child to do. Many young girls in the community also get into a relationship at about the age of 12 or 13. It's not uncommon to see a 12 or 13-year-old here pregnant with her first child. It's also not uncommon to see a girl at the age of 17 or 18 married, living with her husband, and living with their 3 children. For that reason, the church is also working in the community to help pregnant women give birth in a safer way. The local hospital is in the main city of San Juan, which is about 45 minutes away, in a good vehicle. People who are pregnant then have to plan before giving birth to stay in the city so that way when they do give birth, they're closer to the hospital. If not, they give birth here in their homes, which isn't very safe for the baby. And the church is working to educate people, to connect them with homes in the community in the central city of San Juan so that they have somewhere to stay and take care of their baby safely. They're also working with young girls to take them out of the community and give them a better source of education and a better future for their lives. As the church has been coming into the community and talking more with the families, creating relationships, a lot of families have asked if church members would adopt their children so that their children can have more hope in the main city of San Juan. The church is doing a lot of great things here in the community, but there are so many more things that they want to do. There are so many more houses to be built, girls to be taken out and given a better education in the city. There are so many more floors that need to be poured with cement, so many more bathrooms that need to be built. In this entire community, there's probably 100 families that don't have a bathroom. And so the church is working with some church partners in the United States to try to just build a simple latrine so that people have a safer way of going to the bathroom, something so simple that can affect someone's life so much. The church is also working to bring beds to people's homes. They're working to offer new ways of farming and creating income. One of the new projects the church is starting is a small microloan. One of the new projects that the church is trying to begin with faith is a small microloan project here in the communities. Because agriculture is a very unsure business right now with the drought, the small microloan to buy pigs, for example, could change a family's life. Pigs don't require a lot of attention, so women could continue to take care of their children, men could continue to go to the mountains and take care of their fields. But when a pig gives birth to small piglets, those piglets can then be sold for a profit. And the money the family can then use to buy food, to better their homes, or to offer their children a better education. Each of these small loans is probably between $500 to $800. It's a very small loan, and a family is given about a year to 2 years to pay the loan back. But the loan's an opportunity for the family to begin a new way of receiving income, a steady income that their family can then use to continue to better their life here in the community.
Bendiciones. Durante todo este tiempo hemos sido retados y aún en este tiempo estamos prácticamente teniendo nuevas metas, nuevos planes a los cuales el Señor nos ha movido a llegar a otras comunidades en las cuales tienen la misma necesidad que esta comunidad. Estamos proyectados a poder continuar haciendo este mismo de trabajo a cada uno de los sectores de alrededor de esta misma zona. Pero dentro de las cosas por cumplir aún en este lugar está la ampliación de la escuela. Eso nos va a permitir que si podemos construir una escuela con más grado, los niños no tendrían que trasladarse a la siguiente comunidad a larga distancia para poder terminar su nivel escolar. La continuidad de la casa albergue, que es una de las necesidades también que se tiene cuando ya los niños tienen que salir de la escuela ya para la secundaria, entonces tienen que trasladarse entonces a la ciudad y no hay lugar donde quedarse. Es parte de los sueños, de las cosas que nos gustaría un día tener esa casa donde los niños puedan ir, recibir alimentos, recibir orientación y poder ahí, ¿verdad?, tener su hogar donde puedan entonces ir al nivel ya universitario. es parte de lo que necesitamos. La necesidad limitada que tenemos ahora de vehículos, estamos usando vehículos prácticamente alquilados por este tiempo y necesitamos una nueva camioneta, el cual nos permita, ¿verdad?, cortar con esta limitación que hemos tenido. Yo creo que esas cosas nos ayudarán a mejorar las condiciones de vida de la gente de la comunidad, ir a otras comunidades bajo la misma necesidad, sobre todo de la proclamación del Evangelio, y poder entonces cortar con ese proceso de deserción escolar que existe en la comunidad. Esas son parte de las cosas que podemos compartir, que tenemos necesidad en este momento.
So although the church in San Juan, here in the Dominican Republic, started coming to this community just based on their own faith and donations from church members, they also have now some donations from the United States, from about 3 different churches there in the United States that have committed to providing the money the church needs to continuously visit the community twice a week to preach and to help families in their homes. The groups also come from the United States about once or twice a year to do projects here in the community, such as putting roofs on homes, constructing homes, and preaching the gospel in different houses. Because of this, the church is always looking for new churches, either here in the Dominican Republic or in countries all around the world, to support their project, not only here in La Florida, but in different communities near here as well, in San Juan and the entire Dominican Republic, that need to hear the gospel and that are in dire need of help, financial help, spiritual help, from people who can support them.